I'm gonna demo this fun project I worked on in the past, and I'll also go briefly over some of the key ideas that will also be discussed more in the description of the video, um, of how the whole Arduino, the electrical, and this LCD kind of work together to create the game that we have here. And without further ado, start the simulation. So initially we get some text that kind of explains how the buttons work, and what it said was basically that these buttons on the left side are navigation buttons that toggle a left signal or a right signal, which you'll see the purpose here on the screen later. And the buttons on the right here is a yes and a no signal respectively. So this is yes, this is no, this is left, this is right. And so if we want to play Scramble, we gotta press yes, right? So I press yes, and it tells me to use the dial for letters, and to make sure I put a semicolon at the end of every guess. And we get a randomized word, and our job is to figure out what this unscrambled word was. And I think I have a pretty good guess at what this one is. I think it's fight. So I'm gonna make the guess using this dial. So currently at this state, the dial signals a semicolon, and by scrolling through we get access to the rest of the alphabet. And so I'm going to look for an F, slowly scrolling. It's really sensitive, so finding the right letter is a challenge on the online simulator here. So an F, and then I want to go right, so I have to toggle right with the mechanical switch. And I'll look for an I. And as you see, it's definitely challenging for me, but basically we'll keep looking for letters, and I'll speed it through so it doesn't waste all your time. Alright, so I have the word now with the semicolon. I'll put it at the end. And what I'm going to do is press the yes button to submit my answer. And if the answer is right, I should get a green light that tells me that I'm right. The buzzer should also play a sound in the event that I'm right, and it should play a different sound if I'm wrong. And it'll also display confirmation on the screen. So here we go. So there we go. It was correct. I got a green display, and the buzzer did play sound. And I get more control logic if I want to play again. So I'm just going to press yes here, but we do get randomized words every time. And this one would probably be boat, but you can also just exit out the program pressing the no button here. Okay, so the underlying working of the program, which is also more in-depth explained in the description, is that the control logic and everything is dependent on voltages reading into these analog pins in the event of this dial potentiometer, but they are digital pins when it comes to these buttons because they can just trigger an on and off signal. And when it comes to the analog dial potentiometer, the voltage that's controlled is basically like PWM, where we get an analog signal because the voltage is being dropped by the resistance that's changing, and that signal is read in the analog read pin within a certain range. And by decoding that range into 26, 27 ranges, we get access to where the alphabet should be based on the voltage that's being controlled by the dial. And that's how I was able to decode it and put it on the screen. And accessing, the screen and the cursor is inherent to the liquid crystal library as there's many functions in there that you can tinker around with. But basically, that's how on the electrical side, it kind of pieced together to create this kind of program.